Hello and welcome to episode 96 of the Book Wars pod as we continue our inevitable march to episode 100 when the universe implodes because y'all still listen. I am Chris. I'm here with my co-hosts as usual, Kate, Kristen, and Miranda, and we are here to wrap up Dooku Jedi Lost, the Star Wars audio drama by Cavan Scott. How's everyone doing?
Chris, you know exactly how I'm doing.
Yeah, this is so people know we're recording this.
That sounded sexual, and it's not.
Yeah,
Oh my god,
my bad.
We're recording this on the right after the second Democratic debate, and really, I'm wondering what people think the over/under is for how many Joe 30330 references I'm going to make are.
Can I just say for a second, I thought he was gonna say that as his website, and I was like, could you not get a domain? You're not running in 3030, my good dude.
I saw someone on Twitter who Googled what he said, and the internet turned up literally nothing, and I was stunned. I have no idea when this tweet.
Yeah, it took a good 5 minutes for somebody to buy joe30330.com out from under the rest of us, and really, I'm a little disappointed in the world.
It was astonishing. I was like, "Wow, internet, you're really letting me down today."
That's very sad. I was not watching this. I was watching Gentleman Jack.
That was a better choice,
yes,
to be honest.
Only gay content in
I was
my
gonna
eyes.
say, make it gay.
Yeah, make it gayer.
Oh yeah, you don't have to make that gay.
Nope, it's already gay. Are you guys drinking?
Chris is.
I am. So, as I said, we've just finished the debate, and living in Colorado has made the debates much more fun for me and Kate to sit through.
Yay.
But despite the fact that I had a gummy earlier, I'm drinking a very little bit. I'm not drinking very much, but I'm drinking Colorado 291 Distillery rye whiskey. It was actually awarded the best rye in the world at the World Whiskey Awards last year. And it is a 61% rye whiskey that's finished with aspen staves, which I've never actually experienced before, and it's really interesting and delicious.
Aspen is in Colorado.
Yeah.
It is. It's also a kind of tree.
What's this?
Oh, fuck.
What's a stave?
So it's basically they put pieces of aspen wood in the whiskey as it ages in an oak barrel.
A stave is
so a stave is like one of the sides of a boulder.
It's a stick.
Or boulder. Jeez. Of a barrel.
It's a stick.
Yes. Essentially, it's a big stick.
I was gonna say a stave is a synonym for what you stabbed Dracula to death with.
That's a stake.
That's a
Yeah,
steak.
I said it's the same kind of thing though. That's what I'm saying.
Stave is bigger though.
You stabbed Dracula with whiskey?
Yes.
Yes.
That's what
I
we're meaning.
know
TM.
that it's steak.
I just thought you were high.
I love
Okay.
steak.
Jesus Christ.
But yeah, so basically it's big pieces of aspen so that they don't have to make aspen barrels, because I don't even know how that would work, but they can still infuse it with age it in the aspen.
Oh,
Cool.
that's lit.
Yeah, it's interesting.
I think it's named Aspen after the trees, Miranda.
Is it?
Probably. I don't know. Somebody
Cool.
look it up.
Yes, it is.
I'm gonna go out on a
Great.
limb and say yes.
Good talk.
Oh, God.
Me and Miranda are drinking Seattle Cider Company dry cider or something. What's it called?
I don't fucking know.
With almost no residual sugar, this golden orange cider begins with notes of underripe peach that lend way to a dry, pleasantly tart finish. It's dry hard cider, 1 pint. Dry hard cider is what it says on it.
I'm drinking out of the one that I dropped. I didn't drop it on the ground. It fell out of the fridge onto the ground. So the the part by the mouth hole is all fucked up, and it's kind of hard to drink out of.
RT. You could have given me that one, Miranda.
No, I take responsibility for this, even though
Okay. Cool.
didn't actually do anything.
Great.
Okay.
Seattle Cider Company,
Nice.
Seattle, Washington.
Miranda over there just caring for the lost and broken among us, among the bottles.
That's true.
That's what I'm here for.
Yes, Miranda's girlfriend drinks cider, so we have lots of it in the fridge, and we only have 3 Rainiers left, so we're both drinking cider. Anyway, should we talk about Star Wars, I guess?
I suppose
Seems
so.
possible.
I'm drinking water, by the way, because
Yay.
I had not quite the number of gummies I had at Star Wars Celebration that one night, but you know, several.
Some to some.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Good
Some
talk.
number of gummies.
That's right. Cad Bane is just staring at me, and I'm just assuming that he's staring at you, judging you. Anyway.
Rude.
I was about to say, does he want
I
some
love
weed?
him.
Because I don't think he can.
He might. I don't know. He has a nice hat.
Jeez.
So
Classic mark of people who enjoy weed. Nice hats.
Well, then that's completely false. I fucking hate hats. All right.
Hashtag whose story is it anyway?
Indeed. Okay.
The game show where there are no rules and the points don't matter.
Just
Indeed.
like the Book Wars pod.
I was about to say where Kristen is telling us that we have to talk about Star Wars. What?
Look at me
universe is
go.
this in? I know. All right.
One in a
so
row.
Well, so we were going to talk about this last time, and then we kind of got caught up talking about how the Jedi fucking suck. So
Don't worry, we're still gonna keep talking about that.
oh, I mean, for sure, but that, you know, rant part 1 took up like, I don't know, probably like 3 hours worth of time. So
It was
Still not enough.
Exactly 3 hours on our hour-long podcast.
exactly how time works. So we talked in, I think, the first episode for our listening to Dooku about how there are various like framing stories around like other stories and such like, but you know, although the book is titled after Dooku, it contains quite a lot of Ventress, and Ventress earlier than we've ever seen her, and just how, I guess, like, where are those stories fitting in together? What is it about, really? And I think, Chris, you might have to talk a little bit about the ending, because I remember last time people were confused.
Yeah, so the ending, for me, the ending was actually like had a huge impact on how I viewed this audio drama as a whole. So it was a little complicated for those who may not have followed it. Basically, we learn that Ventress is not being sent to save Jenza. She is being sent to keep Jenza from going to the Republic and essentially ratting Dooku out for planning this, planning the Separatist movement.
Wait, did I miss that entire ending?
I think I did too. That's what I mean. To be fair, I said that I missed the entire ending, so whatever. But
Cool. Well,
it's very confusing.
fucking long live Jenza.
Yeah.
What is dead may never die.
Oh, God.
I thought we got to stop talking about Game of Thrones now.
I mean, we can always talk about how Theon's a shit. That's
What
the
is
topic
space
that's
dead
always
may
loud.
never space
What
die.
is space dead may never space die.
That's true.
That's actually incredible.
There, now it's Star Wars.
Thank you.
But so we learn that, and then we have this kind of internal, so we think, monologue with Ventress that actually kind of becomes the internal debate in the battle for her soul and for her fall to the dark side between Dooku and her own conscience in the form of Kai Narek.
Right. Like, it's one of those moments where, what do you call it? It's not actually her first kill, obviously, because she's done it before, because she had a horrible childhood. Star Wars. But this is what it is. It's like that initiation kill. Like, how obedient are you? I made you kind of attached to this person because I gave you all this like information about her and our relationship, and then please just stab her until she dies.
Mm-hmm. And so for me, that was like really crucial to the story, because I said a little bit at the beginning that I don't love stories that are kind of just like Wikipedia style and go through somebody's whole life story. And like I've said things about EU books that I felt had that quality that I didn't particularly like. And to me, this framing device of this this kind of twist that this wasn't even about Dooku. Like, this was Dooku manipulating Ventress the entire time. Who knows how much of his story is true? Even if it is true, it's presented in such a way to elicit the exact reaction that he gets out of Ventress. And to me, it then fails to become a story about Dooku, but instead it's actually a story about Ventress's fall and how Dooku is able to seduce her to the dark side.
Yeah, I always want to hear more about Ventress. So I'm glad it ended up being about Ventress, but also it was sad.
Did it end up being about Ventress?
Yeah, per what Chris just
I
said.
think
Oh my god.
I think I really skimmed over the end here. Not gonna lie.
It was
I'm
an
very
audio
confused.
medium, but I don't think. Did you listen to it?
I did. I was coloring though.
Oh Lord.
Okay, that's fair, but
I didn't finish it, but it was like this alpaca llama thing, and it's very cute.
yeah, doesn't it say a curse word on it because they're my coloring books?
Yeah, it's You ever think of that fucker?
Yeah, that's very funny.
Which is what I say to this audio. I don't know.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Is it later? I didn't read the outline. Sorry, it's like the old days. And I do less frequently for the wrap ups. Do we think how much of Dooku's story do we think is real?
I don't know.
That's part of it somewhere, isn't it?
I think the
so.
main story beats are probably real.
Right, but you know, there are lots of easy ways these days, apparently, as you know, from Rebels to, you know, record a hollow message where you don't actually look like you. So it's a curious option. You know, to record over basically his real diary or just make one up because he planted it for her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. It just felt very like revealing. I know that's kind of like the point, but it just
Right. I mean, yeah, no, I almost want to believe that he just like fabricated this entire diary because can you imagine Dooku being the kind of person who keeps a journal? I kind of can.
Yes.
Okay.
He's very extra.
That's true.
I can.
Really?
I can imagine him being one of those like extra ass British lords who was like September the 30th in the winter of like
Oh my
yeah,
god.
because it's Britain and September's in winter.
it's def raining in
It's
September.
always winter if
So-
you go north enough.
Please stop.
But I can absolutely see him doing that.
I don't know.
Well,
I just
Do we think Thrawn keeps a journal?
Yes.
Yes.
See, yeah, and that's why
We also-
I think Dooku also keeps a journal.
we also know that he does.
Well,
It's a
okay.
fake one, but
we
he
did. Yeah, I guess we did know that.
Kylo definitely keeps a journal, but it's a very different kind of journal.
It's
It's more like a 12-year-old's
Yeah.
like playground crush journal.
no one
His-
understands
Doesn't understand.
me.
His
Very
he uses
emo.
His calligraphy set to draw that S that everybody always drew in middle school.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's all his journal is over and over
Oh
again, and
my
him practicing
God.
his signature.
But I feel like Dooku is exactly the kind of person who would keep a journal.
This is
Like
interesting because
he's very detail oriented. I feel
He-
like.
he is, but he just strikes me as the kind of person who would want to keep all that sort of stuff in his head, just because he could.
But then you would forget it. What if he has a bad memory?
I don't think he does though.
I don't
He
either.
strikes-
But like,
He strikes me as a person who's very concerned about the historical record. He
That
strikes me as a
matters.
person who from a young age thought that his thoughts would be worth something to the society.
Yeah, and if we take the story at face value, like he writes that way too in his journal, right?
Yeah.
Like even when he's supposedly good, he still sounds like a little fucking dick.
well, he's always been very full of himself.
Yeah.
Unless
That's how he writes his journal. Like,
unless
he's
he
very full of
fabricated them
himself.
all and like super old Dooku is obviously just going to talk like Super Old Dooku. Apparently, I'm a fucking Dooku's journal truther now. Like, this is just what's happening.
That's okay.
Okay, we can
You're
Where's
stop.
the
allowed
receipt?
today.
When was the journal bought?
I'm sorry. All right, we can get off this topic.
They didn't have that holocom technology back at that time.
Oh my god.
I will say, while I think I personally think the main beats are real, I definitely think that it's a question of perspective in terms of how he is represented. Like, and even within this story, we still get like a very clear progression of his fall to the dark side, even if we don't see the moment where Sidious like kind of full on turns him into Darth Tyrannus. But we see him using lightning on the witches, and we see him, killing the Tirataka and awakening the Tirataka in the first place, and like killing people and threatening people
Dooku Hulk rage.
with Qui-Gon when they're on Coruscant. And I could easily see it being something like, actually, Dooku didn't use lightning to kill, to protect themselves. He just did it to kill people. Or like something like, actually, Dooku was not this calm, collected person explaining that he needed Qui-Gon to be afraid of his actions in order to be convincing. He was actually just being a maniac. Like things like that.
The Terataka is the Great Stone Dragon, right?
This is correct.
Okay, just making sure. It's not Mushu. It's the Great Stone Dragon.
Mushu.
What a very Mulan heavy week.
But so
It's
the
not a bad
thing,
thing.
I feel like when he's doing these things, though, he doesn't realize, because as we discussed, I think last episode, the Jedi are not good at teaching about the dark side. It's like, don't have feelings. Feelings lead to hate, whatever the fuck that shit is. And like Dooku's leaning into his feelings, but he's not like using them for some ulterior motive. He's just really emotional in those moments. And I feel like, later in the films, like, we see him do shit because he's the bad guy. And like I think I mentioned this on the last episode maybe. Like, I don't think we see him turn to the dark side in this. And that might be my interpretation. I might be stupid. But
Whatever.
No,
it'd be like that sometimes.
I don't think he. No, I don't think he turned to the dark side. I think he turned away from the Jedi. I think there's a difference there.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I phrased that wrong. We didn't see him turn to the dark side, but we see like kind of the first half of his progression.
Mm-hmm.
If
I
that
mean,
makes sense.
I think that him turning away from the Jedi certainly opens up the opportunity for him to be seduced by Palpatine later. Like, it's certainly, I'd imagine, a lot easier. Although we saw Anakin, flip over like a leaf before a storm. So, like,
Anakin's very stupid.
But that was
this is correct.
goddamn writing, George Lucas. That is actually the theme of this discussing Dooku is just goddamn George Lucas. Why didn't you write the prequels better?
Also, Anakin is very stupid.
Yeah, that is canon.
Now I'm just imagining like, I don't know why, but specifically in my head, Clone Wars Anakin, someone being like, this is a terrible idea and it's obvious you shouldn't do it. And then Anakin just like looking at them and smiling and being like, but you forget, I am very stupid. And then going and doing it anyway.
Who says no?
Anakin, yes.
Ahsoka would pay good credits to watch that happen.
Ahsoka has watched that happen.
She doesn't want to see it anymore.
Oh, dear me.
Do we really think that Dooku did accidental force lightning out of his hands? Didn't he do it accidentally the first time he did it, or was he just like, was he like force tripping, or was that just in the force trip during when they were on the bad planet?
I think that first...
What?
Bad planet. There's so many bad
First tripping
planets.
on the bad planet.
It'd be like that sometimes.
Okay,
The
so...
Red Hot Chili Peppers song.
Great. Listen, I'm definitely not making sense because I'm high, and this is just, we all just sound like a mess.
It's
I don't
great.
know if this
It's
is going to
very
be
hot in
comprehensible.
this room, so keep going. I'm sweating.
Okay.
No, I don't want to sit by the window. I want to suffer.
Guys.
Sorry, go ahead. Do we really think he did force lightning?
I think that first time it felt more like again, sort of like this threshold that he crosses over in his progression through the dark side, kind of like Ventress's. I think that first time was kind of when that the ability to even like think of doing that gets unlocked. Like even if you are force sensitive, I don't think you really think to like, let me just shoot lightning out of my goddamn fingers, because like that seems like a cool spinning. That's a cool trick. Like force lightning, that's a cool trick.
They do not teach you that in Jedi school.
Exactly. But after like that kind of like potential was like unleashed in him, I don't know. I don't buy that he just like had a fucking episode every time he like did a bad thing. I mean, obviously not every time he did a bad thing, but every time he, had those, it almost was like out of body moments where he, did murder and such like. I don't know. I don't think that's actually.
Oh, I kind of do think
part of his story.
I do think that was, in general, what happened. Because to me, I kind of feel like it's like in Harry Potter when Harry does magic accidentally. Like it's like, the dark side had such a strong hold over him in that moment because he was so overwhelmed with fear and anger that it just kind of like forced its way out, and that was like how he first learned to do it, because he didn't really know, like he knew it was possible because he knew it was a Sith thing, but
I would like to know more about this because I don't know, the way I've always read the Force is that like going dark side or light side is a choice on at least some level.
I think it is, but I do think you can have moments of being taken over by the dark side in particular. I think the light side more than the dark side is a choice.
I mean,
like I think the dark side's both, because I think that's the whole point about how it promises all these things to you and then it lies to you, and that's how it corrupts you.
Some Book of Revelation shit.
but I feel like too that
parables.
Part of it really is, the Jedi teaching against love and other feelings because it leads to hate. And like Dooku's having those moments where like his emotions just really take over him. I don't know if that's necessarily the dark side. And like sure, like the dark side force shit happens.
She's wiggling her fingers in front of her like magic.
Lovely.
But like, he's not like dark side. He's like, oh fuck, I have a lot of feelings right now, and the dark side slides in like, you call boo. And it's, I mean, if we want to continue with the the Harry Potter shit, like when he's mad at the snake in the Chamber of Secrets, or when he thinks it's gonna attack Justin from Hufflepuff, he like tries to like convince the snake to go away, and everybody's like, what the fuck? He's talking to that snake right now.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happens to Dooku when he like starts shooting lightning out of his fucking fingers. Battle for Dooku's soul.
Yeah, so
The battle for Ventress's soul.
We see the beginning of what we think is the battle for Dooku's soul, or there's that moment right at the beginning of what Ventress is seeing where she's in his office or whatever the hell, and he doesn't seem to notice her. Like it feels like she's in like the past or a memory or something like that. Where he like looks like shit. I don't know. I feel like that's really the moment we get where, Dooku's deciding whether to go to the dark side. I kind of agree that this is just one small step on a very long journey. But I don't know, I guess what I wanted to talk about was, although we see both Dooku and Ventress fall to the dark side, and obviously they rack up a whole lot of bad things.
A lot of death.
Yes, a lot of death, a lot of murder, a lot of, scheming and such. What does Ventress have in her that Dooku doesn't, that lets her come back to the light side, basically, at the end of Dark Disciple? Because I thought they have similar-ish journeys.
She finds love.
She didn't get burdened with all the Jedi fuck shit.
Whoa, that's an actual point.
Like,
Yeah.
she wasn't raised to fucking ostrich her head down in the sand.
Yeah, I like that. Because just to take that a step further, because I feel like what brings her back at the end is her compassion, and Miranda, obviously you said because she finds love, but she was never taught to suppress her compassion. I mean, seems like Kai Narek was kind of a shitty teacher, so she was not in any consistent way taught to suppress her compassion, the way Dooku was.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Miranda literally said earlier, "Love leads to hate," so that was pretty funny.
Well, that's what the Jedi say. They teach that, compassion leads to something, leads to hate, and then you want to kill everybody, and you're on the dark side. And that's why Dooku doesn't love anybody, because he was taught to not love, and it's almost like that's bad.
Big if true.
So that's why
I'd have thought
Dooku needs to get laid again, but
Totally
Sifo Dyas died in Order 66.
Good one, Miranda.
No, he didn't.
Wait, did he not?
No.
Was he dead before then? Oh, he died. He died many years ago. Sorry, that's on me. Fuck, that's. Y'all know Attack of the Clones is my favorite of the prequels. That's embarrassing. I apologize.
It's embarrassing that that's your favorite of the Clone Wars.
I have owned up to that
Prequels.
many times.
I'm
I
aware
will
of
not
that.
apologize.
Oh God.
Anyway, that
Other-
was Love Leads to Hate. Thank you
with
for coming to my
Miranda.
TED Talk.
I had one more. I think probably I had one more question about the content. I guess. Do we think that Dooku decided to become Count for altruistic reasons?
No.
Power reasons? Okay.
Yeah, he's a control freak.
I mean, true.
He's got a very high opinion of himself. Like, he turned away from the Jedi and he's like, "What's that? My dad's dead and my brother is dead?" Question mark.
Did he die?
Yes.
Yeah.
He did.
Dooku
My
killed
brother's-
him.
Oh,
yeah.
shit, yeah.
Me and Miranda, laughing at it. Good, that's good.
He's like, well, guess someone has to step up. I'm better than everyone on this shitty planet. Like,
I also enjoyed the fact that it was like, I am the sole heir of my father. Everybody else, what about Genza? I am the sole heir of my father.
He is the Serenit.
This is a spatriarchy.
A pow pow. Sorry.
God, Jesus.
I shouldn't wrap air horn my own jokes. Oh boy. Yeah, but no, I don't think he took it up for good reasons.
Just.
I mean,
wondering.
we can get into like a discussion about this another day. About like him starting up the separatist movement. I probably have a slightly different opinion on that, but that's a whole other situation.
So it is. So it is.
Yeah, Dooku was like, "This is easy. People are stupid," and then he was like, "Pout, pout, pout, angry, angry, angry."
Yes.
That was my
Jeez
point.
Louise.
Sorry.
No, it was good.
What was it?
Oh my God. All right. Do we want to talk about the medium now?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do
We
it because I feel
should.
like I'm the only one who actually liked it.
I think if I had a better attention span, I would have liked it better.
This is interesting because you read or listen to audiobooks all the time. Like, what made this different for you? Or is it just that you couldn't go to the text if you wanted to?
Part of it was definitely that I couldn't go to the text if I wanted to, because like there were parts of audiobooks where I listened to it and I had to just rewind it a bunch of times and I was like, I still don't get it, and I just went and read it and was like, oh duh. I'm just like this is so sad because I retain nothing when I read either, but I'm just like a better reader than listener as far as like books are concerned. Yeah, I mean, I think part of it was just like the content of this was confusing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would have made more sense if this goes into how I took this as like a mechanism for getting Star Wars stories, because I'm also much more visual. Like, I think the story was confusing, like, full stop. We're not here to argue that. But I think it just seemed more confusing because we couldn't look at it, and like, you can't kind of, flick back a couple pages and say, oh, okay, It's like she's still listening to, or she's still watching like this holocron situation. Because we'd get, a few minutes in, and then Ventress would start talking. I was like, oh, fuck, she's still here.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like, it's just harder for me to follow.
Chris, tell us why you liked it. We're not.
Yeah, no, I mean,
most of these are my shortcomings, so I'm not
No,
here to.
I don't necessarily agree with that, and I think even if that were the case, that's the hazard of doing something like this. And I mean, I think so. To the point of view thing, I do agree that that was confusing, and I think that was more written to be like a Dooku chapter, a Ventress chapter, a Dooku chapter, a Ventress chapter, like we've seen in Star Wars before. And I think that did not necessarily translate as well to an audio drama. I did like it though. And it's weird because I'm usually a very visual person, but it allowed me with the sound effects and the score in particular, it really allowed me to kind of picture what was going on in a way that I find very difficult when just only reading.
Mm-hmm. And I do agree with that. I did like having the sound effects because, we fell in love with Star Wars through the movies, and that's something that's part of that. But I will say that I very much got just distracted whenever they played music.
Oh, interesting.
Because, well, like, I just felt like the themes didn't match what was happening and the text.
Right.
Like, they just do something that, like, sounded like Star Wars when there was, like, the Force. And it's like,
there's a Force theme.
We're not playing the Force theme in the right parts, and, like, we're playing these other themes, and...
Miranda's listened. What she's saying is she's listened to the soundtracks too much. She knows what all the tracks are called.
No, that's super real.
I remember specifically. I think I've said before the reason why I'm not on music episodes is because I cannot hear goddamn anything, and I really, when I'm watching a movie, it takes me a really long time to pick up on the score. Like, there are probably like pieces from the prequels that you could play for me, and I would not recognize them because I can't hear anything. And that's just like a super tone deaf thing with me. But which is saying a lot for this next thing I'm about to say, because I distinctly remember one thing that really jarred me was they just started playing the Imperial March, and I was like, this doesn't exist yet, and it kind of bugged me.
It makes no sense.
Yeah. And it felt so out of place that I literally noticed it when I would have heard blank space between my ears,
Yeah, that's fair. I think for me, and this is also kind of me just being the positive attitude optimist that I am with Star Wars, I'm very excited about what they could do with this in the future. I think this was very much a proof of concept thing, because I am excited for like maybe a story that's a little easier to follow, a little more broken up into like almost acts, like almost like a play, like an audio play. But I did like it. I liked the potential. And also to me, it's big that they are going to end up releasing this in, I want to say October, as a book. And to me, that's huge because I think we talked at the beginning and we talked a little bit on Twitter when this was first announced, how it's a cool idea, but it excludes deaf and hard of hearing people. And they just have no way to experience it if it only exists in audio medium. And so to me, being more inclusive of them and of people who, maybe like you, Kristen, this format, they just need something to follow along. I think that improves it. And I wonder if they will come out with that simultaneously or at least a little closer in the future.
The proof of concept thing is interesting because I think it accounts for a lot of the, smaller things that are bugging us because, obviously Del Rey has never done this before. Penguin Random House Audio, whichever. They've never done this before, obviously, and people are used to listening to audiobooks or listening to podcasts, but they haven't ever had it's not common to have something that sort of stands alone from either like this. At least now, because the radio is dying and sadness, etc. But I think that in trying to just bridge both the book and audio sort of thing, it meant that there were just kind of almost relics left over from writing a regular novel that kind of actually wound up dragging the audio down, because I think the framing narratives, I think obviously those things, you guys were saying it's less confusing on paper because then you can flip back and forth, and sometimes you have things in the book's interior design, like when we read Last Shot by DJ Older, where there were little cues as to which timeline you were in and things like that, and obviously that's not a thing that translates to the audio medium. I think I was saying earlier in a previous episode that I was expecting more of a, they're printing the script of this, but it's not really a script because, you've got all this interior monologue that you would normally get from the characters, especially from Ventress. So I don't know. I think that also probably, again, was sort of weighing it down, preventing them from maybe thinking a little bit broader about sound effects or, music, because they were probably just trying to hook people. So they're like, it's a Star Wars. Here's some Star Wars music, even if it doesn't go. So I want to see more in the audio medium just because I think they're still trying to find their legs with it. So, obviously there's lots of potential there, but there's also potential to just get it right, period, the first time, and not even experimenting, just doing it in such a way that it's less confusing for people and whatnot.
I really wonder if it was conceived as an audiobook from the start. Or, excuse me, as an audio drama from the start. Because I know at Comic-Con just a couple weeks ago, Cavan Scott was talking about it, and he said that, kind of the assignment that he initially got, or the recruitment pitch, was to tell Dooku's life story. And he was given, a lot of leeway as to how he went about doing that. And so, that statement leads me to believe that this kind of back and forth, doing it from Ventress's point of view decision was his decision. And whether that was decided after they realized it was going to be an audio drama and they were kind of like, well, this is just what we're doing, or just kind of what the order of decisions was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tom, if you're listening, hit us up.
No, Chris, I think that's a great point because, I do like the idea of telling these stories in an audio medium kind of format. Like we've said, it's not something we really see a lot. And I think there's a lot they could do there. I wonder, though, if this, and I might be contradicting myself on maybe the first episode we did on this. I wonder if this was the right story to have for the first one. I think switching kind of between the timelines and, between the points of view for each chapter or track or whatever we're calling it, could kind of be a little confusing. And if they had done something more like A New Dawn or not Phasma, that was boring as a book, but something that's just much more linear.
Right.
And
yes.
Chronological. Yeah. Something that would have been easier to follow, I think, probably would have produced not that I didn't like this, because I did really enjoy the story, but I think it could have produced a better overall end product.
Yeah, it's funny. We're missing a lot of those things that set us in time and place in a lot of the books so far. Mm-hmm. A lot of them would be the start of a chapter. It'd be we're on blah 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 and blah blah blah. It's oh great, we've jumped timeline. And I know from listening to the audiobooks, like they do that in like a different voice, and it's like, okay, this is like, pay attention to this. This is telling you like what's going on.
Yeah, it was strange. There weren't like, and that's one of the things I'm talking about. Like the audio cues, there weren't really many.
Yeah, and it's interesting. I just kind of wanted to go back a little bit. You know, when you're reading a book, like we've all said, you kind of get confused. You flip back a few pages. I think you're just not used to doing that in an audio medium, right? It's like once you get to a point, you're like, oh shit, I don't know what's going on, and then you're like, how far should I go back? How far back should I go? Who's talking right now? So, I mean, I get that. I think it's just like less of an easy. It just like doesn't make as much sense. In a book, it's just like, okay, let me flip back until I like know what was going on, and you don't really know where that was in an audio medium because you're not really paying attention to physical page turns and things like that.
Yeah. And I will say with that too, it's like much easier to lose focus with an audio medium.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I am a millennial. I like to be just constantly stimulated. So like,
Ayo.
oh no.
Oh, Chris.
Oh no.
Jeez.
This was a mistake. Sorry, this was a mistake.
That's sad.
But like I just feel like it's so much easier, and like this is one of the reasons that I don't listen to podcasts anymore, because I don't live in DC. Which,
dude, what a mood.
Well, there's a point to this, because I would take the metro to work, and I wouldn't have service, so it was really easy for me to like stay off of Twitter. I would just like, listen to the podcast and play a game where I made like blocks fit together.
She would just not be on Twitter. Can you imagine that?
What a concept.
Seems fake.
Never heard of it.
But like, if you're reading a book, you have to pay attention. And then if you don't pay attention, you go back, you reread the same paragraph 5 times. And finally you're like, oh, okay.
You also can't scroll through Twitter while you're reading a book.
You'd be surprised.
Challenge accepted.
Okay, but like, you can literally have an audiobook or an audio drama playing in the background while you're just reading Twitter, which is
yeah, but
not quite the same thing as.
Yeah, but I can't pay attention to that because I'm reading Twitter.
Exactly. Like that's that's my point. Like you're consciously looking away from a book, whereas like you're not pausing the audiobook. You're just continuing to listen to it, but not listen to it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're not listening to it, you're hearing it.
Exactly.
I wonder, and listeners who have kind of made a jump from being like heavy voracious like print readers to listening to lots and lots of audiobooks, please tell me, because I'm curious. I wonder, as you listen to more and more audiobooks, if for most people, if that ever kind of goes away, like you get used to being like hyper focused on things. Because I was just thinking about this the other day, because I'm making my way through the Witcher saga, and I'm reading it on my Kobo, and which I don't read on my e-reader too much. Like, this thing has been turned on maybe 30 times since I got it 2 years ago. But with the ebook, it's sort of the same thing, where it's like you can kind of like remember by the feel of the book like how many pages you had left on either side, where something is that you're trying to look up, or at least like you were like, oh, I remember seeing this, around the middle of chapter 3 or whatever the hell. You can't. It's harder to do that again in ebook because you don't have physical pages to flip back and forth. So there were times when I just like wanted to like go back and remind myself who this person was, and then I could, and I mean I could, but it would have been arduous, and I'm lazy. But I've noticed as I've gone on reading the books in the series that my brain tends to want to retain more, just to fight against the frustration, but also the laziness of I don't want to find like what the hell like percentage it was at in this book. So yeah, I'm just curious.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I always find it, I think it depends on what I'm doing. I mean, like, I'm also like, I'm a huge podcast listener, and like, I find it very easy to listen to kind of conversational podcasts where, you're not really missing things if you're missing things. Whereas like if I'm going to try to listen to like an educational podcast like Ologies, or I'm going to listen to like an audiobook or something like that, I tend to try to do something like where I can devote my whole attention, like clean the house. Like cleaning the house is a great thing because it's like I will not be on Twitter. I am like vacuuming or scrubbing something. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't have my phone in my hand. It's like across the room and I'm just like listening to whatever I'm listening to. If I'm going to listen to something that I need to be paying attention to, I do something like clean or like go on a walk with the dog that I don't own. Anyway, that was my whole point. Doesn't matter. Should we go to social media questions?
Actually, I did hear that actually. Okay.
Good. So. Great.
I have it. I whenever we're ready.
Wait.
Should we go to social media questions?
No, we missed one. All right.
Oh.
Yeah.
Specifically, do we want more Dooku stories?
Not on this medium, but yes.
Okay.
I want to see him like really creating the separatist movement.
Oh, that could be fun. And that's something that would be appropriate to tell in a book instead of talking about fucking trade routes in this entire fucking movie. But never mind. You know, I agree with that. I think it's interesting that they styled the title Dooku: Jedi Lost as if you could have like further Dookus with various other subtitles. So I'm hoping.
He's Dooku the First.
Yeah, I basically want more of like any one if it's well written or well told, I suppose. So yeah, I definitely want more Obi-Wan. Is that an option?
I mean, we are going to get more Obi-Wan soon, luckily, on the podcast anyway. So,
yo, can I just say about Obi-Wan? Did anybody else die laughing because Ventress's verbal relationship with Narek was extremely similar to the flirting that she did with Obi-Wan?
Yup.
Oh, this guy
Ventress has daddy issues.
Really messed up.
Extremely the same, though. Like, it was extremely the same.
Obi-Wan and Daddy, though.
She was, like, less angry at Obi-Wan, though, and more sexual. if we're keeping it 100.
It's the beard, yo.
It looks great in the Clone Wars.
Fair enough. He's got nice robes.
Is that code for something? I don't understand.
I don't know. I really do like his robes in the Clone Wars cartoons. I think they're nice. I wasn't being weird despite how weird I always am.
I like his hair.
That was adorable. No, nothing top. Listen, in terms of like attractive cartoon characters in the Clone Wars, like does anything top Obi-Wan in his fucking Mando armor though?
No.
Think about it. Anyway.
The answer is no.
Anyway, let's move to our social media questions.
Speaking of, does anything top?
Yeah, wait, so are we going to start or are we going to end with this question?
All right, I think we have to end with it.
We have to end with it. We have to do real questions.
All right, fine.
All right, we have...
That is a real question.
It is a real question,
Rude.
but I'm going to have a lot of fun with it. I think we all are.
All right, we got many questions from two of our most frequent listeners. What?
There's dozens of us.
Jeez Louise. I'm so upset. Listen, they're the ones who ask questions. Everybody else is like, my kid is about to go back to school and freaking out, or I broke Twitter because it's a new Twitter and I don't know how it works, or so you know what?
New Twitter is terrible, to be fair.
It's
the worst UI I think I've ever used.
It's
certainly in the past like 2 years or so.
I know.
Yeah, sorry, that's what I mean by ever used.
Worse than Windows 97.
Windows 2000.
Dude, that's real. All right.
Bring back Windows XP.
Oh my god.
Sorry, let's talk actual things.
You need to stop. Also, Chris keeps like flapping around and it's very distracting. Because his restless leg syndrome turns into restless leg syndrome while he's awake every time he gets high.
Oh, that's relatable.
Kate keeps saying these things expecting to get sympathy, and instead she just turns me into more of a sympathetic character.
Well, me and Chris have all like the same medical issues, except for I don't think he has polycystic ovarian syndrome, but who's to say?
I mean, I've never I've never had it explicitly ruled out when I went to the doctor. So
otherwise, if you were a woman, that's the first thing that they would tell you, and they would do no tests. It would be great. No, really though, me and Chris have like all the same medical issues. It's very funny.
Oh my goodness.
Retweet if you've chewed through a night guard.
It's true. Chris twice in probably the same year, but whatever. Okay. So Daniel sent us many questions. His first one is a very good one. Why does Yoda suck so bad? Why indeed?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like we covered that a lot last episode.
Who was Yoda's master?
Who the fuck
I don't think
knows?
we know.
That guy's
I think
old
that's a
as
question
shit.
lost to time.
Yeah, I mean, I just blame the Jedi.
Yoda's
but also
master-
Yoda is the Jedi, so
He is the Jedi in it. Yoda's master is so old, he's fucking like Mr. Jedi.
Yoda's master is the tree.
That would
The
actually
tree
be
that he
amazing.
sets on fire.
That would actually be literally amazing. Miranda, the way
The
you
ultimate
said,
revenge.
oh my god, Miranda, the inflection with which you said Yoda's master is so old. ... It sounded like a Yo Mama joke, and I was like,
It
oh
was
no.
intended like
Either that or like a Bill Nye moment, like, how old is he? He's so old.
Oh,
We've been listening to Bill Nye's podcast in the car.
is it good?
I really like
It's
it,
fun.
yeah.
Cool. Thank you for that. This has been us plugging podcasts.
Honestly, only listen to the LeVar Burton episode. Thank you.
Oh my god, it's so pure.
oh no.
It's great.
We love
Um,
LeVar Burton in this house.
Do we?
Yes.
Alright.
Do you not?
Yoda sucks.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's get back on a less controversial topic, apparently.
Oh, we're gonna have a talk young lady after this episode. Yeah, no, why does there's no reason for him to suck so bad, and yet here we are with him destroying the Jedi Order. All right, next question. Did you feel any sympathy? I can't. My Invisalign lisp comes back when I'm high, apparently. Did you feel any sympathy for Dooku / Darth Tyrannus after learning more about him and his issues with the Order by the end? No.
No, not
never-
sympathy.
Sympathy's not the right word.
I get it, but also, plenty of other Jedi had issues with
Yeah,
the
like a
Order.
little more empathy,
Yeah.
but no, not sympathy, because he still made his choices.
Shame.
Yeah. Like, I understand why he was frustrated, but, as y'all were saying earlier, Miranda and Kate, like, there's a big step from deciding not to be a Jedi anymore to committing genocides on, like, several planets. So,
To be fair, the Jedi have also done that.
I mean, that's also true.
Bwah, bwah, bwah.
All right. His last question before his very good question, which we are going to answer last, is: do only Padawans hook up, or is the whole council smashing too? And I'm like, obviously they are.
The entire council is smashing.
Definitely smashing.
Each other folks, all at the same time.
Just like
absolutely.
all sorts of smashing at all times.
Yes.
All across Coruscant, all across the galaxy. Maybe in the Jedi Temple if that's what you're into.
They're not smashing enough, or else they would be less bad.
Correct.
It's true.
Well, like Yoda's not smashing. Like I'm sure
No.
Mace
Yeah.
and like Depp are smashing.
Dude,
Yes.
actually, that is a surprisingly popular rare pair.
Oh, actually, I didn't mean to each other. Oh, I did not.
Miranda only believes that gay people exist. She doesn't believe in
mean,
straight people. Yeah.
That's fair.
It's not wrong.
That's extremely fair.
It's funny because I saw a tweet today that was like some meme of like, it's not funny when I describe it, but it was something along the lines of like me with any character I like, and then somebody saying like, they're not gay, but I imagine them as gay because I'm gay.
Don't at me.
Yeah.
This is why representation matters. Really though. Make gay characters in Star Wars, and then we won't have to make every character
Everything-
in Star Wars gay, except for we still will.
Okay, plot twist. Everybody in Star Wars.
Is gay.
Yep.
Except Leia. We've established.
This is true.
It is canon.
Disappointing.
I know. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like I said, can't always be perfect.
I respect her and her alternative lifestyle.
You respect 1 straight.
That sounds about right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
definitely. In all seriousness, though, the Jedi are always having relations. I
Yeah.
forgot this. Except for the ones that aren't into that, but otherwise, yes, they are always having relations.
Yeah,
Yeah.
in all seriousness, the Jedi are smashing constantly.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't make the facts. Anyway, Andrew Rich over in Scotland, bless him, sent us several mini questions, including one that he DM'd to us after we recorded our Most Wanted wrap up. So and then I told him we would answer it on the next episode, and then we were in the middle of moving, and I totally fucking forgot. So we'll also do that one in a hot second. But he comments, is anyone else intrigued by those Force balancing wraps that Dooku, Cypher DS, and Lin Castano wear? Makes me think about Rey's arm wraps. And I was just like, this is fascinating.
Yeah.
True.
I'll say I'm definitely intrigued by them, but I feel like Rey was already wearing them before she started recognizing that she was like Force sensitive.
But maybe her parents just like, or whatever the fuck, slapped those on her and was just like,
You know
don't
what?
take these off.
That's a great point.
Also, like,
I definitely did not see it like that, but I respect it.
Yeah, I didn't either, but that's a really cool connection.
yeah. I mean, Force arm wrap's gonna arm wrap.
A tale as old as time.
Oh, dear me. All right. And then he asks, do you think they were telegraphing the droid army issues too much in the second half? I know it's meant to mirror and foreshadow, but the ending resolution on Serena was basically
The Phantom Menace.
Phantom Menace with a Sith dinosaur. No, I'm laughing at Sith dinosaur because
Oh yeah.
incredible. I feel like, again, the ending like was kind of such a whirlwind for me, and I had to think about it to understand what the hell was happening that I just did not notice. But I don't think like the droid thing, like obviously I was like, oh, look, a droid army and they're bad and stuff, but other than that I did not, my brain did not go any farther than that.
Yeah.
That is where it stopped.
I think that like clearly I did not comprehend a lot of the end of this. So maybe I missed some of the heavy-handed foreshadowing or telegraphing the droid army or whatever. But there were a couple of times where they're like, oh, droid army. Or like droids. I was like, ooh, I know about a droid army. They go, pew,
Yeah,
pew,
for me,
Pow, pow, pow.
I didn't think it was too heavy-handed. I mean, in the sense that they were saved and then had to kill a great stone dragon. Sure, it was heavy-handed. It was some of the more absurdist of Star Wars canon that we have. It was very Zillo Beast arc.
We respect the Zillo Beast in this house.
I'm not dissing the Zilla Beast. I'm just saying
I
it's
am.
that's true. Kate
Fuck
hates
off,
the
Kate.
Zilla Beast.
You fight me.
But like it's on the absurdist side of Star Wars. So to me, that fit in there. You know, if this had been a more, I don't want to call it not serious because it's not like it was comical, but like, I don't know. I feel like if there's no way to like, I'm trying to phrase this and it keeps sounding like it's going to be an insult, but it's not meant to be an insult. Like, I'm not calling the plot or Cavan Scott's writing childish, but like, it's on the more absurdist side of the scale. If this had been a less absurdist story, I think it would have fit in less for me.
Yeah.
I see. I don't have a good opinion. Sorry. I'm just looking at my blue children.
I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, certainly.
Mhm.
Andrew also comments, I also feel like his sister was freaked.
Justice for Jenza.
Yes. That's all I got. Just
I
yes.
Did she die at the end?
Yeah, Ventress like got like just like he was just like, here, stab my sister and you will be initiated, as Chris fucking drops his potato and it bounces on the floor. But yeah, no, I mean, did she die for plot reasons?
Yes.
Yes. Did she die so Dooku could appear like more evil and whatever the fuck in his character? Yep. So
Oh, maybe I remember.
that was rude.
Yeah, fuck that shit.
Agree.
So that was not my favorite.
Nope.
All right. So do we want to do his most wanted question first, or
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So his question about Most Wanted by Ray Carson, which we read, which was the last book we read before this, and again recorded the wrap up a little bit early because that was before we moved, so we were trying to get ahead. Anyway, so his question for the Most Wanted wrap up and for Solo in general, he says, I like Kira as a character and her arc, but do you think it would be a deeper or more meaningful arc if Kira was instead Sana Staros? I mean, there clearly is chemistry between Han and her. Do we need another white female replacing another person of color? She could have easily filled the arc, and certainly has a murky relationship with the Star Wars underworld.
I'll take this because I'm the most familiar with Sana Staros. I think it's fair to say, because she is a, to this point, comics only character, I believe.
No, she was in
Oh no, she was in Last Shot. Okay, so she was in that too.
comics mostly character.
Yeah, comics originated character. To me, it's kind of two different questions. Like, should Kira have been Sana Staros, and should Kira have been another white lady protagonist? I don't think Kira should have been Sana Staros, only because Sana Staros has a less sinister feel to her, in my opinion, than where Kira ended up. I think they could have gone a different direction, but like in terms of a straight swap of Kira could have fit in, or Sana Staros could have fit in instead of Kira, but in that same role, I don't think that's the case. I mean, I always think that white women can be replaced by women of color in Star Wars movies. There's almost nowhere where that's not true.
Right. I want to say that one of the folks who auditioned for the role of Kira was Tessa Thompson.
Oh, fuck.
Wow, I did not know that.
Why didn't we
think-
get that movie?
Now I'm angry.
I don't know.
And I say that, frankly, as somebody who thinks that Emilia Clarke did an incredible job as Kira. Like, I think that she did so much better than I expected and really showed what she can do when she has a half-decent script. What up, Game of Thrones?
Pow, pow.
But, yeah, I think that character could have been more interesting. There could have been added depth if she didn't look like every other woman in Star Wars. Absolutely.
Yeah, I want to point out, yes, Tessa Thompson was in the running, as well as Naomi Scott, who is brown, Zoe Kravitz, and some other people.
Oh God, Zoe Kravitz would have been amazing.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah.
I think she might have been better than Tessa for this specific role.
Yeah, I think so
Yeah.
too.
Wow. Now I'm upset. And again, I actually really liked Emilia Clarke in this role, but man, that would have been cool. Yeah, so like I think it would have added depth for sure. And I mean, also this is also a completely different conversation if they swap Woody Harrelson and Thandie Newton's roles in the movie.
There was also another
Fucking
brown
Christ.
woman who was going out for this role. Her name, I've never heard of her. Her name's Adria Arjona, I think. She's Puerto Rican, so I can't say anything. Blah, blah, blah. Can't pronounce anything rather right now. But there were options. And now I'm sad.
There are always options.
Yes. Like,
The
always be
answer
putting
is
more-
never white women unless the question is who's racist. What?
Yeah. Yes.
Pow,
Always be
pow.
putting more women in Star Wars, but, you know, they could have any kind of melanin at all.
I know. But yeah, so, yet another thing that we don't have the opportunity to encounter because racism.
Great.
Racist gonna racist. Cool.
But really, if we're replacing anyone, replace Woody Harrelson. Sorry, continue.
always. I was just gonna say, do we want to go to our fun
right.
question on that
right.
very typical heavy note that we're always just sad because Star Wars needs to do better.
Yes, let's do the fun question.
All
So
right.
this is... Oh, do you want to do it?
Oh, I'll introduce it. So the fun question, as I said earlier, is from Daniel. He would like to know who on the Jedi Council is the top or a bottom. So we're going to just go through. Chris is going to call out names, and we're going to just, have a head count real quick of what we think.
Oh, are we doing a head count? I thought we were doing this as a pop quiz specifically for Miranda.
Oh, no,
No, we're
this
all
is,
saying
this is
our
an
opinions.
interactive activity.
Okay, so I'll say the name, and then I'll go 1, 2, 3, and then all of us at the same
Yes.
time say our answer.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Depa Bilaba. 1, 2, 3.
Top.
Top.
Bottom. What?
What?
Ooh.
Verse.
All right, no discussion, only answers. Eth Koth.
I don't know who that is.
I don't either.
Doesn't matter. Make a decision. 1, 2, 3. Bottom.
Bottom.
Yarael Poof.
I don't know who that is.
Oh my god.
Doesn't matter. All right, so Eth Koth was the Zabrak who I think was killed by Sidious.
There's a Zabrak on the council.
Oh my god.
Yeah, he's like got like dark reddish skin and hair.
Sure.
He's got like weird like bald Klingon hair. It's weird.
Yeah, he's one of the ones who like wanders in with Windu at the end.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
Um,
that guy who gets fucking cut in half. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes,
Definitely
okay.
Um,
Great.
Yarael Poof. 1, 2, 3.
Bottom.
Top.
Bottom.
I say top because Yarael Poof
No, you
is
said no explanations.
okay. Well, fine. No explanation. The person, I'll tell who the person is after we make a decision.
All right.
Yarael Poof is the Kaminoan looking motherfucker in episode who's on the council in episode 1.
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, missed that person entirely.
Chris, how many of these people are there?
We have several more to go.
Oh
my God.
Addy Gallia.
I don't know.
1, 2, 3.
Top.
Top.
I was not. What? Who did you say?
Addy Gallia.
Oh yeah. Okay. She's a top.
Okay, good. Glad we
Continue.
all agree. Oppo Rancisis. 1, 2, 3.
Top.
Bottom.
Top.
Oppo Rancisis was a snake-like Thespiasian and a tactical mastermind.
Sure.
Even pile. 1, 2, 3.
Bottom.
Bottom.
Oh my god. This is terrible. All right.
All right, ready?
Why
The hardest one yet.
terrible?
Hardest one yet. Ready?
I don't know.
Yaddle.
Oh, I know who that is.
1, 2, 3.
Bottom.
Top. Ooh, Kate might be right.
What'd she say?
Switch.
Yeah, I said verse.
Oh, okay.
Wait, switch was not an option here.
Well,
You must pick.
You make
at
your
least-
own
No.
make your own reality, Miranda.
yes, this is
This is a top or bottom.
this is a
situation.
Porque no los bofa situation.
No, this is not a Porque.
I think Yaddle is the only exception. No other exceptions.
Yaddle is
God.
the female version of whatever the fuck Yoda is, right?
Yes, correct.
Boom.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Chris, how many more of these are there?
We
should've
have
just
5
said-
more.
We should have just sent people. Whatever.
We have 5 more. No, we're doing the whole thing.
We know some more though.
I know.
Sacy Teen. 1, 2, 3.
Top.
Bottom. Key Addy Mundi. 1, 2, 3.
Bottom.
Top.
Bottom.
Wow. Okay. Plo Koon. 1, 2, 3.
Top.
Bottom.
Chris.
Chris doesn't
All right.
get us.
that one was just trolling because I knew you were all gonna say
All
top.
right. fuck off.
Jess is
Um,
gonna.
all right,
Space Jess
Mace
from
Windu.
Lousy Beautiful Town is gonna call us about that Plo Koon comment.
I know, right?
Go on.
Mace Windu. 1, 2, 3.
Top.
And finally, Yoda. 1, 2, 3.
Bottom.
He's. Yoda's just ace.
Ugh.
Yoda's nothing.
Fair.
Okay, fine. Yes.
All right.
Was Qui-Gon not on the council? No, that's why
He was
he'll
not.
never got it. I have seen the prequels many times.
Have you?
Oh, my word.
Sorry, y'all.
All right.
Again,
All right.
embarrassing.
That is the last of our social media
All
questions.
right, we
I
only
think.
have a very few Easter eggs. So Chris pointed this one out to me. Chris, I'm gonna let you take that one.
Yeah, so if you hear when Rael is talking to Palpatine, Palpatine says the Queen of Naboo wants him to come back, most likely for fucking. And did either of you catch that queen's name?
Of course they didn't.
Is it the one that's on the outline?
Yes, it is the as you heard and remembered from your listening experience. It was Queen Ek, which of course is a reference to Ek Johnston, who wrote earlier this year Queen Shadow, the YA novel about Padme.
Oh.
Oh.
It was. I thought that was cute.
Oh, that
Um,
is cute.
Right. I enjoyed just because this joke went on far longer than I thought it would. When Ventress finds Jenza, she's hidden behind this a hidden panel behind this poster of Glee Anselm, and she keeps amusing I would like to go there one day, which is a reference to fucking Beckett in Solo wanting to retire to Glee Anselm so he could learn the Valicord.
Fuck Beckett.
Ew. Fuck Beckett.
It's true. Chris, this.
Next one won't make sense until the next book, but it gives us a time indicator in that scene where Dooku talks to where Rael talks to Palpatine. Dooku says, "I thought you were on Pygel." That is Pygel is the planet that Rael Averross is on, and we will see him in Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray, which we're reading next.
Which one is Rael?
He was the cowboy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, I liked
I
him.
literally.
He reminded
him as.
Who's that guy? The one who was in what's that movie called?
She's looking at me like I'm
A
going to be
Star
able to
is
answer
Born
this.
with the mustache.
Bradley Cooper.
No, the older guy,
The cowboy guy.
the cowboy guy.
I didn't actually see
I
the
haven't
Star
Bradley
is
seen
Born.
Cooper's brother. He's very famous. I don't know
Yes.
his name.
Okay.
Hold, please.
Is this important?
Is it Lady Gaga?
It's
No,
Lady
this is
Gaga.
he's like a really famous actor. A
Spoiler
Star
alert.
Is
Chris,
Born
Lady
cast.
Gaga has a mustache in A Star is Born.
Sam Elliott.
Oh, okay.
I was
Yeah,
picturing him
that
as
does
Sam
nothing.
Elliott the whole time. It was
See?
amazing.
Okay. He's
That-
young though.
I
That
know,
was-
but I was still picturing him as Sam Elliott.
To be
That-
fair,
see,
Sam
I-
Elliott hasn't really aged at all, so.
I see. We had very different depictions of this dude in my head because for whatever fucking reason, what I was envisioning was like a cow person, a la the animation from BoJack Horseman, and I don't know why.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Well, the fun part is when we start talking about Master and Apprentice next week, we can actually talk about what Rael actually looks like because Claudia Gray, as she does, did her fan cast
Ooh.
Ooh.
Hey, Claudia Gray, you're the best.
of her characters.
That's thank God.
Very
Oh,
interesting.
So
shit.
we actually do have who Rael was modeled off of.
Oh, good.
Okay.
How
Um,
fun.
All right. Last one's also yours.
And then the last one was all I came up with all these. There's a reference to a creepy mask thing
had
in the
one,
Bogan
okay.
room. That is, I'm wondering if it is a reference to the Mask of Lord Momin, which is an artifact that we see primarily in the Darth Vader, Dark Lord of the Sith comic by Charles Soule. He also introduced it in his Lando miniseries, he being Charles Soule, who wrote that one as well. So I think that is potentially a cute little call out.
I want to point out I found that one and asked you about it.
You did, actually.
So
It's
hot.
a great point. Forgot that. Oh my god.
Yes.
All right.
Jesus.
No better place to end it than Chris getting dunked on. Thank you for listening to the Book Wars pod. Our next episode, we are going to be starting Master and Apprentice by Claudia Gray,
Thank
reading
God.
the start of the book through chapter 11. So please join us there. We're really excited. In the meantime, you can find us if you go to Book Wars 30330. Hit us up on Twitter, Facebook,
Damn it.
Instagram, or Tumblr, or email us bookwarspod@gmails.com. Rate, review, and
Gmails,
subscribe.
all
Gmails.
Only one Gmail at this time.
All the Gmails. Rate, review, and subscribe to us and the Tashu Station Radio Mega Feed. It is the best way for people to discover the show and for us to continue to slowly spread our word poison to more ears. Donate to the Tashu Station Radio
Jeez
Patreon
Louise.
and give us coffee at ko-fi.com/bookwarspod.
Word poison was positively Wendig-esque. Jesus.
Yeah, right. It kind of was. It really helps us with our hosting and production costs. And y'all haven't gotten a picture of Pork Chop in a while, is all I'm saying. When you give to us on coffee, we will post a picture of Pork Chop on the Instagram.
He's gotten even cuter and fluffier, y'all.
He sure has.
And I will
Our themes.
I will threaten to run the air horn through the soundboard, but instead we'll probably just continue to do it through the microphone no matter what, if we're being
Yeah, honestly, I feel like
If
that
we're being
shitty
30330.
production quality is more representative of our
It's
brain.
what they come to expect from us.
It's
Yeah.
also what air horns are. They're shitty.
Our theme song. Our theme song is Whiz Bang by Poddington Bear, at least until Kristen replaces it with an air horn on a loop for 30 seconds. Our logo and artwork are by Joe Butera Design. For Kate, Kristen, and Miranda, I'm Chris. Thank you so much for listening to episode 96 of the Book Wars Pod, and we'll talk to you next week.
Donate to the Tashi Station Radio Patreon. Did I miss that part? Was I not paying attention?
You literally
fuck,
did.
Sorry.
Absolutely said it.
Oh god.
This is why.
I'm sorry. Who do you think is reading the conclusion here, Kristen?
This is why I don't.
Whoa.
This is why I don't listen to audiobooks because I stopped paying attention.
That was the stock applause coming from the app that I have.
Oh, got it.
Guys, hold up a minute. I gotta go throw a spider out a window.